So, we are going to try doing a live from my iPad because it seems like every time I do a live with my laptop, there's some kind of like video glitch or something where there's like multiples of me and then there's like a lot of green bars and stuff like that, and I don't know what's going on. So, we're just gonna try doing a live from the iPad and see how it goes. So, the other day, um, after my last video, I had noticed that a lot of my videos that had any kind of, even just like a reference to mental illness, was getting that little like yellow monetization next to it that basically says that the video is not suitable for most advertisers. And that's something that I had noticed before, was that a lot of times when I would upload videos that has anything to do with mental illness, that it would get demonetized or it would get limited ads and things like that, even on my personal channel when I had first started uploading videos, when I was originally allowed to put ads on my videos back in like 2012. So I tried to submit it for a human review, and it said, "Oh, sorry, if your video gets like 1,000 more views in a week, then we can do like a review of it." But I like tried to submit it anyways, and then I got an email today saying that it was done for um the the review was done, and saying that, "Oh yeah, it's found suitable for all advertisers." And I'm like, "You don't say," because everybody sits here and tries to put up this front of, "Oh, let's put all this like effort into mental health awareness and soothing and, addiction specialists and stuff like that, and let's really get the word out that there's hope and there's help, and here's the number for the suicide line and this and this and that." But it's like, unless you're pulling massive numbers, YouTube doesn't want to hear you talk about mental illness. They don't want to hear you talk about depression. They don't want to hear you talk about schizophrenia. They don't want to hear you talk about bipolar disorder. They don't want to hear you talk about borderline personality disorder. They don't want to hear you talk about it because it's not acceptable. YouTube is such a hypocritical platform in such a strange way, because if you pull massive numbers, you can upload dead bodies to your channel, but you can't talk about having depression. That's not acceptable. If you're a small channel, you can't talk about depression. That's not okay. And that just like, that's been bugging me all weekend. So that was fun. And then yesterday I was in the hospital again. And it seems like I've been in the hospital every week since I've been out this way. And I kept getting like really bad stomach pains, and I kept throwing up and couldn't figure out what it was. And I went to the hospital, and the doctor's like, "It sounds like you're going through a lot, so we're gonna go ahead and cancel all of your tests and send you home because I really think you're just stressed out." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's nice." And he sent me with a prescription for Pepcid that I now have to take every night to try to help with my stomach, because he thinks that my stomach is just producing too much acid, and I can't see a GI specialist until January. So that's cool. And then I had a panic attack from the IV, because the person who did my IV was one of those people that, like, when they do the IV for like the blood draws and stuff, instead of them sitting there and just doing the, just putting the thing in, they sit there and it's like they fish and they dig and they just get all up in your veins and stuff. And so I kept like trying to pull away from it or whatever, and then I just ended up having a full-blown panic attack, and it was one of the super fun panic attacks where I go completely mute for 4 hours, so that was cool. And then I ended up having to communicate with the nurse on by writing on a napkin. So that was cool. And he kept asking me, he's like, "Are you on drugs? Are you using any other drugs?" And I'm like, "No." Like, I've had people suggest, like, why you live in Colorado? Why don't you just smoke pot for your anxiety? And I'm like, because I don't like it. I am not going to sit here and act like I've never used that stuff before, especially when I first came out here and I was coming off of like. So anywho, um yeah, I had edibles and stuff like that, like candies, when I had first moved out here to help with like a lot of the nausea. I guarantee you're not the only one who's buffering because the internet connection out here is hot garbage. So that's cool. Um but yeah, they just think that my stomach is just making too much acid and can't keep up, and that's why I keep getting sick, which is really annoying. Um and my arm hurts from them doing the blood draws and stuff. I get really annoyed when I go into hospitals and they're always like, "So, I see in your chart that you have a history of bipolar. Are you self-medicating?" And it's like, "No, I have my bag of medication that I take every day, but I don't sit here and like I'm not seeking out crack or anything or drinking myself stupid to deal with it. Like, okay, I've had bipolar disorder my whole life. I've been dealing with it my whole life. I'm on an antidepressant and that is it. Um oh, and he sent me with Vistaro, which is like Benadryl, but like pumped up a little bit. And I came home and I slept so good because I've just been taking Benadryl to sleep and it's not been helping. And so he wrote me a prescription for Vistaril, and I see my doctor on Wednesday and he wants me to talk to her. He thinks that my sleep hygiene is off and it's causing me stress, and the stress is causing me an acute physical reaction, which is why I keep getting sick. Science. I don't know. I have a third grade education, so I couldn't tell you. I don't know if I have bruising or not though. Not really, but you can see the little blip from the IV. I told her that they get better diggins on the outside of my arm than the inside of my arm. I'm more likely to panic with the inside of my arm. So who's gonna listen to me though? You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here in some SpongeBob pajama pants and telling you that I'm still sick. I've been still sick for the last like 2 months, and I told my mom I'm worried that they're gonna think that I'm like drug seeking, or they're just gonna like stop helping me because I keep getting sick. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do. My health is garbage. My life is garbage. It is what it is. And then on Wednesday, before I see my doctor, I have to go to my voc rehab appointment, and there's going to be an employment specialist there, and hopefully I'm going to be able to start working. Pray to God I can start working. And then last week I went and got registered with, what's it called? Workforce Center. They were really nice. They were really, really, really nice. This lady, I don't know what her name was. She sat there and she was like, "No, you're young and you have a lot of really great skill." I was like, "Skills? Girl, what? Who, me? No." She's like, "Yeah, you have a lot of really great marketable skills. You've worked in, a few different areas, and, you know, we really think that we can find you something that's going to fit really well with you," and blah blah blah. And she was such a nice lady. And she was telling me, basically, she's like, "You're young, you know, I don't think she used the word eloquent, but I speak good." As I said here with like nonsense coming out of my mouth. Um oh, articulate. That was the word that she used. Articulate. She said, "You're very articulate." And I told her, as like, if it wasn't for the cane. And she was like, if you ever feel like you're being discriminated against, like, here's the information for it. If you feel like we're discriminating against you, here's the information for it. And she basically said that there's no reason that somebody shouldn't hire me because I do have the skills. But the problem is the cane. And I told her, I was like, it's really frustrating. Go to places like Walmart, go places like Starbucks, and it says on their door that they're hiring. And then you ask them about it, and they're like, yeah, we're not really hiring. And I'm like, what the flip? That's like false advertisement. That's like ridiculous that you're sitting here and you're putting this out to the world that you're hiring, but JK, you're not really hiring. And I just got really frustrated with the whole thing. So I told her, and she was like, no, you're correct. Like, they definitely shouldn't have things on their doors that says that they're hiring if they're not really hiring. But corporations make stickers and we just stick them to the doors and windows of the places where we work, and we don't have any say over anything. So that's cool. But yeah, I figured I'd just pop on for a few minutes and let you guys know what was going on and all that fun stuff. I don't remember a whole lot from yesterday, but I know I woke up at like 1 in the morning and it was super, super cold. And that's kind of like one of the most frustrating things about living in a camper is when it gets really cold, like the water stops running. You can't like all the pipes stop. You can't flush the toilet. You can't do like hardly anything. And it's super frustrating because running water, like, take it for granted a lot. And then getting showers and stuff is like almost impossible. So I feel gross like 98% of the time because I only get to shower like once every other week. So that's cool. Which is why my hair is always looking a hot mess. You guys can tell when I've been able to have a shower because my hair is usually down. Um, so there's that. I've gotten around a couple of things as far as like plumbing goes by using like bottled water and things like that, because my parents' stuff, they closed in the bottom of their trailer so they're able to have like more running water, but mine is on wheels, theirs is not. Mine's like a drivable camper, I guess. Um and theirs is like a fifth wheel, and so there's no way to really like enclose this one. And then all of the pipes for the water and stuff is next to like, I don't know, my mom said it was something like really flammable, like a gas thingy or something. I don't know. Probably the gas tank because it is a camper, like a drivable camper. So um she was like, "Oh yeah, we could put like a heater down here, but we don't want it to like explode." And she's like, "I'll go down there tomorrow or Wednesday or whenever with like a blow dryer and try to like thaw it all out or whatever." Because you can't empty the tanks or anything because everything's frozen. So like my sink has some water in it and it just drains really, really slow. The same water has been in there for a few days, which is kind of gross, but it's just, it is what it is. I can't fix it. I've gotten to the point where I'm just tired of even trying to like fix the tiny little problems or anything because it's just so annoying to deal with. So I have just been sitting here crocheting and watching 2020 on Hulu because what else am I going to do with my time? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. And I'm kind of sad I can't see my therapist this week because I usually go on Thursdays, and Thursday is Thanksgiving. So I'm left to my own devices for that one. She was like, how's your Thanksgiving gonna go? Like, what's your plan? And I was like, crying over a tiny urn and eating cake, except I don't have any cake. And then I realized yesterday while I was in the hospital, they're like, what's gonna make it better? And I was like, all I could think was having Ishka, and I'm like screaming inside of my brain while I'm having this panic attack. And then every time I would have a thought of Ishka, I would just start crying harder. So I like, it took twice as long to get out of it, and it was awful. So there's that. I have not been paying attention to like any of these comments. I am so sorry. I'm like the actual worst. Aw, thank you. You're so sweet. Let's see. There we go. It's so weird doing this on my iPad. Like, I'm not used to all of this. Let's see. Oh, there's stuff it won't let me see. I want to go up all the way. How much do channels of your size make on average? Literally pennies, actual pennies. My AdSense has not really moved like at all. Um, and I've had ads on my channel for a few months now, so there's that, but I'm not really like expecting it to, and I don't really care. Like, I check it every once in a while just to see if it has moved. Um, but yeah, I don't really, even for like super chats, I've not seen any of that money like come through. So I'm not really sure like where it goes or what it goes to. And anytime I look, I get different answers from different places, so I don't actually know. Let's see. Open up an Etsy shop and link to your channel. So the thing about Etsy, I looked into it a few years ago. What are you making? Headbands. Just a whole lot of headbands. Um, the thing about Etsy is that you actually have to pay to list on Etsy. Which I can't do because reasons. Um, so I don't have an Etsy. I used to have, I think it was called an Art Fire shop. I don't know. This was like 10 years ago. Um, and they didn't pay for listings. Um, but like I said, this was like 10 years ago. I don't even know if any of that still exists or not. Um, and then there was for a while, I don't know if it's still possible, but Facebook used to have this thing where if you had like a business page, you could post things on your business page and list them for sale and sell them directly through Facebook. And I thought that was just like the tops. Like, I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world. But again, that was like 10 years ago. Um, so as of right now, I don't know how I want to like sell things that I make. Um, there's like a couple of little stores out here where you can like sell things that you've made, but you have to get it like approved. It has to like go through all of these like different like levels, I guess. It's like a committee or something, and they're the ones who decide like what gets put into like what shops and how much it gets sold for. So you don't really have like control over anything. Um, except like what you're making, but they decide like where it goes and they decide how much it gets sold for. And I'm not okay with that. I did have these little bags being sold at Moondance Botanicals in Denver like 4 or 5 years ago. And did that on commission because I knew the owner at the time. She's since sold the business and she lives most of the time in Ireland now. Um, so it's like completely different. I don't have the information for the new owners to like contact them and find out like how to do stuff on commission. But since they're more of like a metaphysical shop, a lot of stuff they have on commission is like cards and um books and things like that that are written with like a metaphysical base to them. They'll do, I actually have something from one of the old shop girls. um this is something, it's from Vermilion. It's called Shine On Glitter Lotion Bar, and their website is vermilionherbals.com, and the owner of this, her name is Molly, and she was the main shop girl when I was there. So they have like their little tins, and she has like her little stickers. And I wore this to work a couple of times. It might be like frozen shut, or it might have like melted and then like refroze. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to open it. I really like this too. It smells like cocoa, like cocoa butter, because it has cocoa butter. So it's coconut oil, shea butter, cocoa butter, beeswax, cosmetic grade glitter and essential oils of frankincense and lavender. So, I feel like I'm just gonna sit here and struggle with this chart. I don't know. But anyway, it's like a lotion bar that had like a little flower print on it and it had a bunch of glitter on it and stuff. But this is the kind of stuff that they have now at Moondance, that people make stuff like that and it's sold there like on commission. I've been missing like everything that's been popping up. Craft fair, booth price, space tables. They don't really have craft fairs out here. They don't. There's like a farmer's market every once in a while where people like sell their potatoes and stuff, but that's about it. This is not a really like cultured area where people are accepting of difference. Oh, there we go. Was I just turning it the wrong way? I think I might have been. Is this even one you can turn? I don't know. Oh, it smells so good. It smells all frankincense-y right now, but it has like a iridescent like green glitter to it, and I thought that was just like dope. I used to wear this to work a lot. Oh, it is a twist jar, and I'm just stupid. That's all right. So yeah, I don't know if maybe up in the mountains, maybe, I don't know. Maybe in like Colorado Springs. I've never been to the Springs, but I hear that they're a little bit more accepting up there. But it's like 3 hours away. And then Denver is also like 3 hours away, which is where everything, all the weird goes down. And then I was like scrolling through Facebook and I found out that there was a shooting in Denver and a shooting in Chicago. And I was just like, I am not safe anywhere. Like, Denver obviously is like just out and about, is not, it's not a good place to be. And then Chicago for obvious reasons, but it was at a hospital and I was like, can't even go to the hospital anymore. Like, that's ridiculous. It just seems like the world is getting a lot smaller in some ways because you're just not really safe anywhere you go, which is really discouraging. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm really not. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like places you can go and places you can feel safe and secure and places where you really don't have to think about violence or worry about it. It just seems like it's not as many places as it used to be. You're just kind of, maybe it's just me, but like for me, I'm like always looking over my shoulder. I'm always looking for danger or something. I don't really know. Let's see. Did you quit Ipsy? Yes, I did. I canceled Ipsy last month. Just because they weren't really sending me things that I was using, things that I was reaching for, things that I felt like were actually tailored to me as a person. I felt like they were just sending out random things. I don't feel like that little beauty profile quiz thing that they make you do, I don't think that